We're going to talk about the dominant pentatonics. Let me explain this. Penta means 5, tonic means tones, so 5 notes. We've got a minor pentatonic, we've got a major pentatonic, but there is also one called the dominant pentatonic, and it's like one of those little hidden secrets that you really need to know. You can play the dominant pentatonic over the top of this as well. Let me put this on top of this chord. It's pretty easy. Go root, second, major third, and then I go fifth, and then play this flat 7 and root. Now you might think to yourself, okay, it's kind of a mix between a major pentatonic. Yeah, there's your major pentatonic. Yeah, which is your My Girl riff. Now you hear it change there when I put it on that flat 7 instead. So what we can do is we can add that to gives us a bit of colour, but really all we're doing is adding the third there, and we're just matching the chord. Because the chord's an A7, it's a dominant chord. If it was a major chord, then the major scale would make sense to put that on top. If it was a minor chord, then it would make sense to put the minor scale on top. But because this is a dominant chord, it makes sense to put some sort of dominant scale on top. Shall I go on a tangent? Well, if we're thinking of these as being 5s, yes, because 7th chords are chord 5s, okay? Then this, you could also put mixolydian on top. You can hear that adds a little bit more of a jazzier tinge to it. So that is something that you've got to make the decision if that's the sound that you want to add to your vocabulary, to the flavour of what it is that you're saying. So you could put that on, and you can do that on each of these chords. Just like with the dominant pentatonic, you can do that as well. So if I move over to this chord 4 here, now what I would normally think to myself here would be, I want to stay with the chord. So I would have root, and I would have second, third, fifth, flat 7. So you see, I can get some fancy bits in there. I like to do this kind of a Clapton-esque trill. I kind of equate that to Clapton. And then I slide down to the third in that scale. So yeah, so but what you would normally do, and it is safe to do, is on this chord here, on the 4 chord, this D7, I'm just going to play the minor pentatonic. And that works really well on the 4 chord. We don't play that House of Blues, however. When we play that, can you hear it? It doesn't work. Let's make sure that everybody's on the same page. I'll say it again. You've got the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic on chord 1. You've got the minor pentatonic on chord 4 and the minor pentatonic on chord 5. However, what I've done is I've introduced this idea of something called the dominant pentatonic, which fits on top of each of these. But what you have to do is build the scale from the root note of each chord. So, 1 chord. I could play a dominant pentatonic over this, and the formula for the dominant pentatonic is root, second, third, fifth, flat 7. 5 notes. Yeah? 5 notes there, okay? But I can round it up. And what I like about this one, it gives me this tritone here. And I always think that that's a bit rockabilly. Stray Cat. Yeah, so this little tritone interval here is nice. And hopefully you can see that that major pentatonic, it ties into crossing over between the two of those. So over that 4 chord, we've got the root, second, third, fifth, flat 7 again, but starting from the root note of the 4 chord, okay? Now if I do the same from the 5 chord, I'm just playing these basic shapes here. We can flesh them out and have a lot of fun with them. But then once we have that, then the fail-safe, guys, where we all start is box 1. Add the major pentatonic on chord 1. If you feel like doing the dominants over the top, then do the dominant pentatonic as well. Generally, it's not what you can do, it's what you can get away with. So we've got this. Started in the minor on chord 4 there. Turned it into a minor blues. And then I'm thinking to myself, that minor there, look, adds that 4th there, which is really 11th. You see that? It allows me to use that. On that chord, I'm going to use my first finger as my starting finger to launch into the scale. There's the chord. Do you see that? Yeah, so now here on the 5, can you hear how that works against that? This pentatonic here, it creates some tension. And then when we move to the 4, it resolves down a little bit more. And then it resolves completely when we go to the chord 1, okay?